Hello, welcome to Steve Knows, and I got my purchasing rights back from Oculus. Happy days. So I've been non-stop playing Sairento Untethered, and I have to admit, when I first turned this game on and started playing the first mission, I thought, what on earth did I just buy? How have they ruined such a great title? But that was first impressions, so let's check out what I think after playing it for a while and why I had those initial thoughts. So let's start off with Sairento Untethered and what it is. This game is coming from Mixed Realms, is a first-person action shooter with many guns and close combat. It's based in Tokyo in the distant future in the year 2066. You play as a cyborg ninja agent for the Sairento organization trying to eliminate a terrorist threat in Japan. The terrorist attacks consist of hackers taking over civilians' minds and using them to do their dirty deeds. In the full version of the game you get this plot, but in this untethered version I've seen very little evidence or introduction into this story. This game takes a more mobile application approach in its content by providing a hub where you select missions, change your loadout, can see your credits, get daily rewards and loot boxes. It's very much select a mission, complete the arena, and then go back to this hub. I personally do not like this way of playing, it's very choppy and feels lazy. There is so much evidence that these developers have tried to port such a huge title to the Quest and have had some challenges that I will mention in this video. So let's talk about why I started having doubts about this game and then why I changed my mind. When I got into the game and saw the mobile hub, I was a little let down as it's just not for me, but it's not that big a problem, so I moved past it and loaded up my first mission. Straight away you can see the visuals have taken a serious hit. Even with the use of foveated rendering, which this game is using by the way, the visuals feel very thin, if that makes sense. When you have bad textures, you get the sense that the walls are not walls, you can see they are thin polygons with an image on top. I was expecting a graphical downgrade, but this was a little bit more than I was expecting. It's one of the first times I feel a game has seriously highlighted the limitations of the Quest's graphical fidelity, especially because this is an arena-based game. You are given a finite space to work with. I would have thought they would be pulling something special out of the bag. Another thing that got me was there wasn't any touch support for the controllers, it was a grab option only. There was nothing in the game that really required it, maybe that's why it's not implemented, but when every game I've played so far on this platform has this feature, it's very noticeable and it feels like I'm getting less bang for my buck. There are also only 5 maps in this game, 5 new locations that didn't exist in the original game, which could be a positive, but I believe the work involved in optimizing what already existed was far too great and was not possible because we have 5 simple, repeatable asset maps. Oh, if you're interested in the optimization techniques as well, I made a video recently, I'll put a card up here. In Sairento, we would also normally have a multiplayer and a cooperative option, which we have lost. Even more content that isn't here. What we are left with, I feel, is a VR mobile application version of a great game. The controls also didn't feel that natural to me at all. I've not been a fan of teleportation in games. I like the actual movement. I found myself kept turning around by accident whilst I was trying to teleport. Also, adding the difficulty of this game where you can traverse in 3D space jumping off walls, trying to teleport added another layer of difficulty. Also, trying to teleport in front of enemies and slicing them with melee weapons was a task in itself. So nothing at this point was going well for me, until I played a few more games, giving it another chance, changing my loadout and started to understand the mechanics. Things started to click and I was able to forgive certain aspects of the game that I found previously annoying. Like the fact you can have 5 different weapons in your loadout to take on a decent array of enemies is something I haven't experienced before in a VR game. You can blast someone away with a shotgun that you take from your left shoulder, whilst getting distance from another enemy using an assault rifle from your right shoulder, hand cannon from your right hip, a pistol from your left hip, an Uzi from the bottom of your back, or making use of melee weapons, the samurai swords on your shoulders. It allowed for such creative approaches in tackling enemies, and it really is important for you to find what works for you in this kind of game. There are 19 weapons available in this game: pistols, shotguns, melee weapons, assault rifles, submachine guns, and projectiles, which include ninja stars and crossbows, which are incredible. Once I got used to reloading and swapping out guns, I started to gain an understanding of the mechanics of movement. Never before have I enjoyed teleportation so much. Because you don't just teleport, it's like a slingshot. You go flying through the air to higher grounds with the ability to wall run, jump off walls, even do a knee slide after you have landed. And if done correctly, you can chain these movements forever and you will never have to touch the ground whilst destroying enemies. I had such serious fun doing this. It was evident that although the graphical downgrade had nowhere to hide, the gameplay itself was not affected. It was fantastic, very responsive and fast paced, which many VR games are not. It would also have a decent amount of enemies on screen at once at different locations, not all bunched together. All of these elements, with the ability to traverse in 3D space in an FPS, meant the graphics were bothering me less and less. It was a great feeling when you can sneak up on enemies, slingshot yourself above them and descend in slow motion with your swords into their heads. Beautiful. This game even had a crossbow. You do not know fun until you are in slow motion, flying across a map, wall running, firing a crossbow like you would in real life. This game has some great moments. The enemy difficulty was also something to appreciate. There's some you can just shoot in the head once or slice them once and they'll be down, but others can seriously damage you and take a few clips to hurt them. In these moments you have to be more evasive, hopping around along walls, onto different platforms, evading huge attacks. Items are also dropped by enemies, collect them, as they provide you with purchasing power outside of the mission. Also they provide you with ammo and health in game. So the gameplay for this had actually turned all of this around. I was starting to enjoy myself. The content is still leaving something to be desired though. You have different mission types, but ultimately it comes down to kill all the enemies on only 5 maps. And none of them really have that much charm about them, except maybe the train station. The game adds small tweaks to make it feel like there's more content, such as you can change the difficulty of the mission to get more rewards, and the rewards don't really amount to much as there isn't even that many purchase options available in the game anyway. You can also add modifiers to the levels to make them more challenging, such as increasing the damage from enemies or you starting off with less health. So from completing missions or opening loot boxes, you are given artifacts which can be used to modify your weapon. Not modify in a way where it can change your playstyle, but things like improving aim assist, the amount of damage it provides, reload speeds, even the ability to change the weapon's aura to whatever colour you want. These same artifact upgrades apply to your armour as well, so you can improve against melee damage or firearm damage, improving your speed or acceleration, that sort of thing. But finally, the saving grace that provides the game with at least some sort of progression is the skills menu. You get XP from playing the game and you gain skill points. These are then spent on attributes categorised by health, stamina, speed, agility, item drops and all the weapon types. This can act as the purpose or the objective of your game since there's no story mode. If you are going to play this, please check out the settings. There are so many options and abilities to choose from to make the experience more comfortable or customizable for yourself, such as enabling the ability to change how you would hold a weapon. Once turned on, you can hold a weapon like a dagger instead of like a sword, which is pretty awesome when you come swinging in from great heights onto enemies' faces. Oh, I seriously love slinging over enemies and taking off their heads with guns. So much fun. The music in this game doesn't have much impact either. It actually defaults at half the volume, so in your settings you'll have to turn it up. The tracks are not that exciting, they don't get your blood pumping. These arena games where it's a grind or the same thing over and over again, the music can play a big part in keeping your attention span, and this just doesn't deliver for me. I also have experienced a few issues playing this game on certain occasions. Sometimes if I'm going really fast and I dash, I'll see the FPS drop and the game stutters. Sometimes the game just goes black and cuts out completely, and then it comes back and it's paused. And that has always left me like, what's going on? Taking me out of the immersion, taking me out of the momentum that I was in. But overall at first this game made me sad, but when I started to think about how this game feels, how the gameplay is, I really started to enjoy it. And it's only $10.99, which is a fraction of the original title cost. We get limited content, but I've never played a VR game like this, especially with the slingshot movement within 3D space where you can traverse anywhere. The gameplay is amazing. I just had to get over the initial shocks. But I'm having so much fun playing this, but it's not something that I feel invested in. But oh boy, is it fun. The more you play, the more nuances you find, the smoother your gameplay becomes, and that improves the fun to be had. But the game is in some serious need of some updates, its content, and some bug fixes in some of the issues I've experienced. So I'm going to give Sairento, based off its content and how fun it is to play, thanks for watching, Steve knows. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've purchased this game, what you think. So happy gaming, guys. Good day.